Hey everyone, welcome to Megan Sullivan Art. I am finally here late as it is to show you through my February design team project for Lavender Blu art and Lavender Blu shop on Etsy. I have used her industrial steampunk paper set. There is actually two journals because I always get a bit carried away. So this is the first journal that I have completed everything for. So the second one will be out in the next few days, hopefully. I literally just have to make the cover and I want to do it a bit different. Same fabric, but I just want to do something a little bit different to the insides as well. So let me give you the vital stats, and then what I'll do is I'll run you through some of the books that I've used for pages in this journal. And then I'll also show you the dictionary that I've used to get the definitions from. So it's 17 centimeters wide, 24 centimeters high. We've got a 6 centimeter spine with two signatures totaling 184 pages. So this is part one. Part one. Okay, so I've got a lot of paper in here which I've dyed with Rit dye in pearl grey, which is more of a tint than a really strong dye. Then I have coffee dyed and also sprayed the papers. And it was a really messy, fantastically fun process. And the look I wanted to achieve was dirty, grungy, oily papers like men from the workshop had come in covered in grease and have grabbed a book and got their dirty mitts all over it and things have been spilt and they've wiped up things with the book pages. So I wanted to kind of get that really industrial look to the pages, which I think I've achieved. So the only book pages that I have actually dyed or sprayed with coffee and stuff are the train ones. Anything else is just as it comes, because I figured those book pages can be easily, you know, collaged over or left as they are, whatever people want to do. And they're coming from a range of different eras. And I've used the books that I used to create the ephemera, so the journal cards and tags and things like that. And it's everything's been done on the sewing machine as much as possible. All right, so that's that. So let me just put the journal to the side and then I can show you some of the books. So this is where I've got my definitions from. This is a book from it's a dictionary, junior dictionary from 1935. It's got very, very thin pages. And it's actually really interesting because the guy, he obviously used to own it, has sort of edited the dictionary, which is really interesting. He's got lots of comments and bits and pieces all the way through it. He's, you know, crossed out words and added bits and pieces in. There's a comment there, highlighted different things. So I'm not quite sure who the person was that owned it previously, but it's been interesting using that. So that's where my definitions have come from. Then this was one of my, I'm assuming, probably my great-grandfather's books. It's a Hoppus Practical Measurer book. It's very old, for timber, stone and iron. So I've just added some of these into the pockets as just interesting ephemera, really. Yeah, and I tried to find a value on it, but it was actually quite damaged anyway. So there was no, you know, copyright page or anything in it. So anyway, so that's gone in there. Well, there you go. There's handwriting there from 1919. So it's a very old book pages. So some of those are gone in there. We have some pages from a physics book, Elementary Classical Physics. So these are actually quite thin pages too. So there are some of those through both of the signatures in both journals. We have, I'm going to keep this cover because I really want to, I like that embossed bird on the front there and the stamps on it. It is The Treasury of Modern Marvels. So these pages again are quite thin and delicate, but there are some of these through the book as slipped in pages rather than bound in. They're just in some pockets and things. So you'll find a couple of those in there. Very interesting. We have Structural Engineering Boiler Making Handbook, sheet metal. Had to grab this one when I saw it because it is fairly old. We're talking 1949. So there's really interesting diagrammatic kind of pages scattered through the book. These are actually bound in. We have the Encyclopedia of Inventions. So this is more of a modern book, but from the 70s. So there was all sorts of cool pictures. So a lot of these have become journal cards and bits and pieces. So more on the steampunk angle. We've got a kid's book, What Makes It Go. The library card for this is actually, or the library pocket is in this particular journal. I love these books. So it's 1984, but there are these pages folded in half and bound into the signatures. Quite funky and groovy. Then we have pages from this one. I mean, look at that. How good would that be for a steampunk journal cover? Practical Australian Motorist Illustrated. So there's all sorts of different engine-y, you know, kind of bits and bobs through there. This is a more modern book again, just engines. Oh, the Search for Power. How are we? All good there. So yeah, so these are quite thick, nice pages. So a lot of these I've used for tags, and then you've got some of the diagrammatic diagrams in there. So these are bound in as well as being, they're folded in half and then bound. So that's really cool. Still got a lot of that book left to use. Some early aircraft. I love the end papers. So if I do a particular, I don't know if I used any out of this in the end. I think I was thinking about it. So I haven't used any of this book, but so cool. Can't wait to. It's got Airbuses and historical pictures. So anyway, I don't think I used any of that one. Oh, sorry again with my rubbish video setup here. The big book of How Things Work, another kid's book. Love these. So this has got a lot of modern stuff in it, but I chose the kind of older stuff, you know, but this could be easily covered over, collaged over, whatever. So there's some of here is, some of this has become tags, I think, as well, or definitely journal pages. Then we have, excuse the giant book collection, the Book of What and How, which is another book. So these are awesome pages, nice and thick. So these are actually just folded in half or folded up, cut down inside the journal as well. So they're really groovy. So that's all the book pages that I used, or the books I used. And so let's get into the flip through. So this is a vintage image, or you know, a vintage picture from 1886 showing a Daimler on his powered motorbike. I've got some coffee dyed paper in the background, which came from Cheryl Hall, but I will double check that. Some of my Rit dyed paper in the background, and it's all been stitched and then glued down. And this fabric is quite shimmery, sort of gold shimmers. And I got this from Spotlight in Adelaide, and as soon as I thought, I went, oh my God, medieval journal. But then now it's actually fitting for a steampunk journal as well. So I will use this fabric on the cover of the other one. And it's recycled book cover. So I've cut them down and stuck them together. So on the inside here, we've got one of the book pages, which I've coffee sprayed. Another vintage image here. This is from the 16th century. And then this is the boiler making book. And you can see how grungy that tag has come up. And this is end paper from one of the books as well. I've kept all that and reused it. Just a cut down image. We've got Romans using manpower in a tread wheel. We've got a gentleman here scratching his head with a whole heap of cogs. Bit of funniness there. These are Fiona's digital kit pages. So obviously the other half of these is in the other second journal. And what I've done with those, if I have stitched on some Rit dyed paper, which I've then sprayed with the pearl grey dye. These are some stickers that came from a local shop here in Alice Springs. So you'll see them sort of scattered throughout. One of my boys had a cutting book, like to practice scissor cutting, and I had a whole heap of moustaches, so I've rated those. This is the train book pages. So these are the ones that I've really grunged up. Oh, there was meant to be something clipped onto there. Anyway, I must have moved it, so that's all right. So this is the big yellow book about how things work. So this is the pearl grey paper with the coffee sprays and things, one of the stickers. And I've left everything rough, like I haven't really trimmed anything down. So this is a dictionary page under coffee dyed paper about steam, steamboat and steam engine. This is the physics book. A floating pocket, this one, made out of one of the book pages. This is the motor the Engines book. And I've just included some offcuts and a piece of Rit dyed paper in there. And that's all been stitched. Another journal card here from one of the books, which is onto end paper again. The Engine book. And we've just got some modern images of a vintage car. And on the back it talks about more modern cars, but I figured you could, you know, chop this up, collage it, do whatever you wanted to do. And this came to me with, sorry, I've got my dogs playing in the background. I think it was from a purchase that I made, and it was just a little free gift that came with it. So there's just some little cards in there and a little tag in there. And there's another couple of little tags there. So I figured that was just kind of something cute to add in. The train book, then we've got old fashioned, definition for old fashioned there. This is the library card for the library pocket for what makes it go. And then I've included, these are those pages from my great grandfather's book of the measurers, Hoppus measurers. The boiler making book. Just some, this was from another digital kit. I'll put the link for that one below, which is just large pages, which I've just trimmed down. A tag from the motor book, engine book, really super grungy and dirty. Had lots of fun making those, had very dirty hands. Steam engine. And then some of the words I kept and sewed around those. Grunginess. This is also from Cheryl Hall, I think. So this was just some of her dyed paper she gave me as a thank you. So this is one of the kit pages, and what I've done on the back was I've got a background from the public domain, and then I just added in this little steampunk man here, which is also public domain, but if anyone's interested I can always email you that, and I've just faded it out into the background. Train book. This is the big yellow book, the book of what and how. And I've just folded the page over. I did trim the sides to make it a bit smaller to fit in. We've got a CD envelope here, so there's nothing in here, but that is glued to the inside, that image, so you can certainly add something in the front of that. This is another one of those other papers, which I've just grunged up the back of and made it as a flip. Fiona's digital kit page. And one of the stickers, so I've just left those so you could put a date inside that. This is my dyed up paper. The first cars, so there's a couple of book pages there with the first cars with some diagrams and things, really cool. Some scrapbook paper, and I've just put the definition of machine on that one, in the middle of the signature. Time stickers there, and really super grungy paper. Kit page, have a clock up there, little sticker. So lots of space to be collaging over the top of that or sticking things on, but I thought the colours were really, I mean, obviously bright compared to a steampunk journal. Definition for airplane. Fiona's digital kit page. This was wrapping paper that I found with moustaches on it. I thought, well, I've got to have that. And so what I've done is I've put some coffee over it and some of the pearl grey ink. I've stitched on a grunged up journal card with lines on the back of it. So there is quite a few of those, but they're all sort of have different coloured backgrounds, if I can get that on. There we go. Just some little hinge stickers. Grunged up airship. This is another image which I have kept I tried to keep, you know, the description of the pictures where I could. I just find that interesting because a lot of the time you're not sure. This is from the Engines book. Another one of the kids' book pages. This I have glued down so it flips open so you can see the image, and then you can journal on that side. Definition for oil. Middle of the onto the second signature, so Fiona's kit pages here. This one is the definition for wheel. This is an old steam engine locomotion one. This is a microscope onto coffee dyed paper. Definition for filigree, and I thought that went well with that frame up there. Definition for brass, and we have, this is one of those, the modern Marvels, I think it was, book, the green one. How food can be kept cool and fresh, and simple electrical outfit to make. I just thought that was quite interesting. Quite delicate paper, but that's okay. Boiler, another CD envelope that can be used. This was the end paper for one of the train book. Definition for engine. A journal card there. Super grungy. Fiona's kit page. The engine book. A definition for diagram. And we've got another automatic inlet valve engine on an 1899 Rayleigh motorcycle as a tag. Another one from the engine book, which I've totally grunged. Nice and dirty looking. Definition for journal. Flip that up into a pocket or a tuck. So there's another old steam engine. Another sort of tag label there. Fiona's digital kit. And I have sprayed these as well, so they are grungier in this journal than they are when you first print them out. And they've been done onto matte photo paper from Kmart. Yep, so that was a background that I had created using all sorts of different public domain patent images, just scattered over there, faded out, and then I've, you know, used the coffee and the pearl grey to grunge that up. Some more scrapbook paper, and we've got the definition for industrial on that one. We've got a little tuck, it says cog, definition for cog, and just an extra piece of the scrapbook paper. So this is balances and weights, and this was just in one of the books that I cut out, just to turn into a tag, and that's just a little tuck there. This is a big journal card, lots of grunginess going on there. Huge big one. Definition for clock. Excuse the shininess of some of these. Fiona's digital kit from Lavender Blu. And all the links to her kits and the other kit that I had used, there's elements of that, just little scrappy bits here and there. I will add below. Another kids book page. Another one of those train end papers, and this is about frigates and submarines, so you could fussy cut those out or do whatever you like with them. I haven't grunged those up at all, they're just as they were. Nice stained up page there. A fold up pocket which has got, I can't remember where I got this from, but it's very steampunky with a little note card. So to include that, this is a piece of a book page from the engines book, and this is another piece of the gift wrap that's sewn onto a journal card. I've just added a paper clip there because I didn't want those to fly out. Definition for rivet. And the last page. So this one doesn't have a pocket because I just really like that page. So you could go and add, I thought maybe like a tracing paper side tuck or something, so you could still see what was underneath, but I didn't do anything with that. I thought the new owner could decide what they'd like to do with that. So there you go. So that is my very first ever steampunk journal. I'd love any more feedback if you've got it. I will load the video up today, and I will try and get it on Etsy by tonight. So if anyone's interested in purchasing it, feel free. It'd be lovely. Alrighty, thanks guys. See you at the next one. Bye.